G'day guys. I've been wanting to get a mini PC for quite a while, so when this one finally went on sale on AliExpress to around $100 Australian before tax, I had to get it. This is the GMKTec G3, not the Plus variant. Let's take a look and see what we get in the box. So straight away we can see it does come with a nice box, but mine is a bit dinged up. This was because it was just shipped in a thin plastic bag with no padding, which is pretty common when buying stuff from AliExpress. It does have a nice shiny logo on the top. The sides of the box are pretty plain. Two sides have nothing on them, and the other two sides just say Nutbox. Turning it over, we can see the company's details. Nothing too fancy there. Let's take the lid off and see what we get inside. So straight away, we can see our mini PC. It does have a nice checkered pattern on it, which I quite like. The Intel inside sticker is slightly crooked, but not really a deal breaker. These are obviously put on by hand. We'll take the mini PC out. It's worth noting the inside of the top lid does have a foam pad in there. This would definitely help with shipping. It's hard to see, it just looks like it's white, but there is a piece of foam. This little tray comes out. It is cardboard and foam on the inside, so that does protect the mini PC quite nicely. Next, we have a little envelope full of pamphlets. It's a nice little feature. Feels very premium, sort of like an invite, and it is just the little manual. So the first page seems to be in Chinese, but it looks like every other page is in a different language. So this looks like it's the English one. Tribute to innovation, but it's one word. It looks like the manual just tells you a little bit about the specs and the ports and how to plug it in. Nothing too special there. Next up, there's these two little boxes sitting in the bottom. There is a finger cutout, so you can easily remove them. We'll take a look at the first one. We have the finger cutout itself. That's just where they punched out the circle. We also have a GMK branded HDMI cord. Nice little extra there. And it looks like a mounting bracket. In the other box, we have another punch out. We have a warranty card, and obviously the power supply. I did buy this from the official AliExpress store, and it only had the EU plug option. There was no Australian plug available. If I can focus down on the power cable, we can see it's 12 volts, 3 amps, 36 watts, center positive. So pretty standard configuration. But if we take a look at the barrel jack, the G3 uses a 5.5 by 2.5 millimeter barrel jack, and the one on the right is a standard 5.5 by 2.1 millimeter barrel jack. So the one on the right is probably the most common type of barrel jack size that you can get, and it is slightly too small to work in the G3 mini computer. Thankfully, the 5.5 by 2.5 mil barrel jack is also pretty common, and these are pretty cheap online if you don't want to use an adapter with this EU plug. I've personally just been using this cheap universal laptop charger. Does the job, and it just takes a standard IEC cable. Taking a look around the mini PC itself, on the top there's not too much, just the logo and the Intel Inside sticker. On the front you have two USB 3 ports as well as the power button. The left hand side, just a vent. This is actively cooled, there's a mini fan in there. On the back is where the magic happens. You've got two full-size HDMI ports, two more USB 3 ports, headphone microphone combo socket, as well as your DC barrel jack in. Under this yellow sticker is our Ethernet port. It just says, kindly note, for faster setup, avoid connecting LAN initially. Connecting might trigger long updates, delaying desktop access. So I guess they want you to use Wi-Fi when setting up Windows. We'll peel it off. There we go. There is our Ethernet port. There's not much on the right-hand side either, just another vent. On the bottom, you've got four nice little rubber feet so it doesn't scratch up your surface. The air intake vent, a little sticker with the model and power input specs. And at the bottom, it says 8 plus 256 gig, since this is the 8 gig of RAM and 256 gig SSD variant. It also has the serial number below that, but I have just covered it up. Getting inside this little computer is super easy. The top is just held in with clips. So you just get your fingernail around the edge, sort of like this, and it does just pop off. So once it's unclipped, you just lift it off. And inside, we have our single DDR4 RAM slot. It comes with an 8 gig, 3200 megahertz stick. The maximum officially supported is 16 gig, but there's a bunch of people online that say they have successfully put a 32 gig stick in there. On the other side, we have our NVMe M.2 slot. Again, it just comes with a 256 gig SSD. To the right of that, we have a shorter M.2 slot. This is only for SATA, not NVMe. So you can't connect a graphics card to this slot, but you could either put a SATA SSD in here to expand capacity, or you could remove the NVMe SSD from this slot, boot from a SATA SSD in this slot, and connect an M.2 to full-size PCIe adapter in this slot. This should let you use external PCIe cards on this little mini PC, which is pretty cool. The top cover isn't keyed, so you can put it on either way. I think we'll put it on the right way, so when looking at the power button, it's the right way up. You just have to push down on it to clip it back in. Nice and easy. I should also mention this uses an Intel N100 CPU. The GMKTec G3 Plus variant of this mini PC instead uses an N150, which is very slightly newer. I think we'll plug it all in and turn it on. Okay, we've got everything plugged in. We'll power it on, and I will mash the delete key while it boots to try and get into the BIOS. There we go. So you can see this is a fancy BIOS, does have mouse support. It's worth noting when I first got this and powered it on, the date was set to 2047, which is a bit interesting. After setting up Windows, I did update the time online, so that's why it has the correct date and time now. We can also see that it does detect our empty SATA M.2 slot, so that's good. And as mentioned, it's the Intel M100 CPU and 8GB of DDR4 RAM running at 3200 MHz. Apparently this comes with C states disabled and the power limit set quite low. So I think before we go into Windows, we'll go to Advanced, go down to Power and Performance, CPU Power Management, scroll down where it says C states, we want to click on that. We want to change it to Enabled. We'll leave everything else as default in here. If we go across to Power, we go Power Limit Select. So it's currently set to 10 watt. We'll change that to 15 watt. That should give us a little bit more power. We'll go Save and Exit, and Save Changes and Exit. There we go, it's rebooted. So this does come with Windows 11 Pro out of the box, and mine did start on the initial setup screen. I've read that some people receive theirs already set up and in Windows, which does seem a bit shady, but that wasn't the case for me. I have had a bit of a play around with this last night, and I have installed some stuff that we can test today. It doesn't normally come with these games out of the box. Taking a look at Task Manager, you can see our CPU is constantly at 100%. That is super annoying, and that is just because Windows Defender and Windows Update is constantly running. I really hate Windows 11 for this reason. With Windows 10 Enterprise, you can disable both Windows Update and Windows Defender if you wanted to, but it is a lot harder on Windows 11. If we go over to Processors, you can see it is Windows Update that's thrashing the CPU. It's pretty annoying, but I guess that's pretty standard with modern Windows. If you leave it on for several hours, it will eventually settle down until there's new updates available. Just something to keep in mind. Running WinVER, we can see it is Windows 11 Pro 24H2. It says it's licensed to GMKTec, but that is just the username I entered when setting up Windows. Taking a look at Crystal Disk Info, we can see both the power on count and power on hours are quite low. When I first got this, the power on count was around 2, I think, and the power on hours was 1. So this does seem to be a brand new SSD and not a recycled one. We'll run Crystal Disk Mark just to see what kind of performance we're getting on this SSD. The results are in. Not bad by any means, but certainly not the fastest available. Definitely usable speeds though. And next we'll try some YouTube playback. We've got a 4K high bitrate YouTube video here. It is playing perfectly smooth. We are losing very few frames, but it's definitely not noticeable. I would say 4K high bitrate streaming, definitely usable on this little mini PC. Next up, some local 4K high bitrate media playback. This is Big Buck Bunny playing in the Windows 11 default media player. You can see it's perfectly smooth, no lag. We'll try and skip through, and it does skip perfectly fine as well. I am running this off a USB flash drive, which is why there is a slight delay when seeking. This little mini PC would be great as a 4K media player, both streaming and locally. Next up, we'll try a few games. Starting off with some old school RuneScape in fixed classic mode. Yeah, perfectly fine, no lag at all here. We'll change it to modern resizable, and still perfectly smooth. Absolutely no lag whatsoever. And here it is here with the 117 HD plugin. You can see still nice and smooth, and it does look really nice. So definitely capable for RuneScape. Next up, we've got the latest version of Java Minecraft. We'll just go to Options, go to Video Settings, and we'll leave everything as default, but we will set it to full screen. We'll create a new world and see how long it takes to generate. So that didn't take long at all, only a few seconds. I am expecting some slight lag while it initially loads. So you can see it is a bit laggy at the moment. We might give it a little bit to settle down, and we will see how it goes then. So it's been around a minute now, and it is a lot smoother, but there are some very slight lag spikes still. I had a similar experience with an N150 Windows laptop that only had 4GB of RAM, and after about 5 minutes, it did go perfectly smooth, so I'm guessing it is still just generating in the background. I'd say definitely playable though. Absolutely. Last up, this is the free Doom 2016 demo from Steam. This is the first time running it on this little mini PC, and you can see it is quite laggy, just from the mouse movement. So we'll go into Campaign, New File, we'll go to Settings, we'll go to Video. So it is 1360 by 768. I might go down to 1280 by 720. We'll go over to Advanced. I do want to accept. I do want to keep the settings. Change the overall quality to low. Escape to save it, say yes. Now it's a lot smoother. I mention this every time, but there is a mod that you can install for this that lets it run on extremely low-end hardware by disabling pretty much every fancy feature. We won't do that today, we'll just keep it as stock. We'll start the game and see how well it actually performs. We're finally in the game now, and you can see at the top right, I have enabled frames a second. And yeah, it's running pretty poorly. The mini PC itself is getting quite warm as well. I am still impressed this is even possible on such a low-end device, but it's just not running very well. It did run a lot better on our N150 laptop, but that wasn't getting thrashed by Windows Update and Windows Defender in the background. So I suspect that is definitely hindering the performance. If you really wanted to play Doom 2016 on this low-end mini PC, you probably are better off using the Potato mod. So Windows Update and Windows Defender have calmed down a little bit now, and our CPU is idling around 20% most of the time, but it is still way more than Windows 10 LTSC. I think next we'll try some local large language models. I haven't been able to find much information online about how well the N100 handles local large language models, so it'll be interesting to see. We'll start with Gemma 3 4 bil. You can see our CPU spike up, and we should start to see the RAM increase as well. There we go, the RAM's starting to increase, and it's loaded. It just squeezed into our total RAM. We'll ask it, simple question, what is the capital of Australia? It's a nice easy one. So we're getting 7.69 tokens a second, which is pretty good. It's obviously not amazing, but considering it is such a low-powered CPU, it's pretty impressive. We'll ask it to summarize Wizard of Oz. I always like to run this question. You can see the CPU is still getting thrashed. That was pretty good as well. It got everything right in that question. And we did see around 7.24 tokens a second. I am pretty happy with that. Just for comparison, I was used to under 2 tokens a second. So 7.24 is a massive increase for me. We might close out of this one, and we'll see if we can fit an 8 bil model into RAM. We'll try Dolphin 3, which is an 8 bil model. Not sure if it will all fit into RAM with Windows running in the background, but we'll see. It does just fit. You can see we're at 100% RAM. Oh, it's going down a bit now, but we were at 100%. We'll ask it the same questions. What is the capital of Australia? So we're getting 4 tokens a second for an 8 bil model. That's not bad. We'll ask it to summarize Wizard of Oz. So the mini PC is a lot colder than it was when it was running Doom 2016. So that's good. While it generates the answer, I think we'll take a look at the total power consumption. See if I can focus down on it. There we go. So it was 34 watts. We'll run the same question again. So 33 watts, 34 watts. So that seems to be the maximum power draw. 34.3 was the highest. Not too bad considering it is 100% load. And I did increase the power limit in BIOS. Now it's finished, it should start dropping down. We are idling around 13 watts. This is with Windows and Wi-Fi connected. So while large language model performance wasn't amazing, obviously, I was still impressed at the speed of it. Overall, this is an amazing little mini PC, especially if you can get it for around $100 Australian. I ended up paying around $112 Australian, all up, delivered, including GST. As mentioned, this does come with 8GB of RAM, which I think is enough for most people, but apparently it does support up to 32GB unofficially. The problem with that is 32GB sticks currently go for around $150 Australian, but you can get them for a little over $100 from AliExpress, although I'm not too sure if I would trust AliExpress RAM. The BIOS is super configurable, which is nice. It's not locked down. It does come with Windows 11 Pro, although I'm personally not a fan of Windows 11, just because of how bloated it is. It idles around 3.5 to 4 gig just doing nothing on the desktop. That is mainly because of Windows Defender and Windows Update constantly running. I ultimately didn't buy this to use as a Windows device. I am planning on putting Proxmox on it and using it as a little server. I have seen a lot of people mention that the CPU fan in this is really loud, but I haven't found that to be the case. I don't have a decent sound meter, but the best I can compare it to is an old mechanical laptop hard drive. That sound it makes when it's seeking, like the faint clicking sound, that's sort of what it sounds like. Not very loud at all. When I was listening to music and watching videos on it last night, I did not hear the fan at all until I paused everything and my surroundings were dead silent. But even then, it's not a very loud fan. I think that'll do it for today. If you have any questions or comments, let me know down below. Otherwise, thanks for watching.